Josh Allen has been the #1 quarterback 3 out of the past 4 years in fantasy football. His highlight reel is nothing short of spectacular.
Allen steps up, there's the shot, looking deep for Davis, touchdown! To the end zone, it's a touchdown catch. Allen steps up trying to run, he's got some room, Allen will take it in!
But how did a player this good have 6 other players drafted above him, and who were they? Today, we are going to find that out. Heading into the 2018 NFL Draft, many scouts didn't know exactly what to make out of Josh Allen. His college tape was, of course, extremely impressive, but at the same time, it had to be taken with a grain of salt because he attended a smaller school, Wyoming. This meant that the competition wasn't nearly what he would see at the NFL level, and even after the draft, he was regarded by many as one of, if not the biggest boom-bust players coming out of this class.
Buffalo Bills select Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is awful beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Even with the many question marks that were looming around Allen, the Bills still took the risk and picked him 7th overall. However, luckily for Buffalo's front office, he has developed into one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league. Now, it didn't appear that this was always going to be the case, though. In his rookie season, he threw more interceptions than touchdowns and failed to lead the Bills to a winning record as a starter.
2nd down 7. There you go. And it's incomplete. He's facing a 2nd down and 8 and looks into the nickel. Progressions, chased, Smith from behind.
Despite the rough starting season for him, it didn't take him long to adjust to playing against NFL caliber talent. Since then, he's been named to the Pro Bowl twice, the All-Pro second team once, and even finished top 5 in MVP voting in 3 of his 6 full seasons in the league so far. So far through the 2024 season, Allen has thrived and once again is proving himself as one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league. Thus far, he's thrown for 14 touchdowns and just 1 interception.
Trying to create, scanning the end zone, touchdown! Allen toward the end zone, caught! And now pitches downfield, in stride, Keon Coleman, and a touchdown for the rookie.
Which is a massive improvement from last year when he finished with 18 picks. Area of Allen's game that really sets him apart from the competition is his ability to get it done on the ground. He is a tough runner and he has already picked up 3 rushing touchdowns, and oftentimes, especially when he's in the zone, opposing defenses are forced to throw a spy on him, leaving one less man in coverage. While many believed he was bound to have a down year after the Bills moved on from Stephon Diggs over this past offseason, this has been far from the case, and if Allen is able to keep playing at this elite of a level, there is no doubt that he will once again be a finalist for the MVP at the season's end. Today, we're not going to be diving into Josh Allen's career though. Instead, we're going to be taking a look at the 6 players drafted in front of him, seeing how their careers have played out thus far in comparisons to Allen's, determining who has had the better career up to this point in time, and if the team drafting him at that certain spot made a massive mistake not taking a risk on the quarterback from Wyoming instead. With the first overall pick of the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns selected quarterback Baker Mayfield out of Oklahoma. While in retrospect, there were at least 2 quarterbacks that likely would have fared better in Cleveland in this class with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. At the time, this was looked at as the smart pick for the Browns. Heading into the draft, scouts deemed him as a year 1 starter, and NFL.com ranked him as the top quarterback in the entire draft class. He was a Heisman Trophy winner, and no one else in college football was playing at the level that Mayfield was. Despite being slightly undersized, scouts had no worries that this would have any effect on Mayfield, and he was drawing comparisons to players such as Doug Flutie, Brett Favre, and even Drew Brees. Even with all the hype surrounding him heading into his rookie season, it was clear that he wasn't coming into an ideal situation. The Browns had only won 1 game in the past 2 seasons, and were coming off a year in which they became the 2nd team in NFL history to go 0-16. Baker was immediately tasked with taking one of the worst teams in the history of the league and completely turning the franchise around. It appeared that Cleveland had found their guy though in Mayfield's rookie season. Following Tyrod Taylor suffering a concussion in week number 3, Mayfield made his NFL debut. While he didn't really fill up the stat sheet by any means, this was still a good performance, especially for it being his first time on an NFL field. While he was unable to find the end zone, he still threw for 201 yards while completing 73.9% of his pass attempts.
Flag on the play, pass is caught by Landry. Here's one, it is caught by catch.
The cherry on top was that Mayfield led the Browns to their first win in over a season. After a debut like this, paired with Taylor still being sidelined due to a minor back injury, there was no doubt that the starting position was Baker's to lose for the time being. He continued to turn heads in his rookie season and went on to come in second place in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting, only behind Saquan Barkley. After adding Odell Beckham Jr. over the offseason, Cleveland entered the season as possible playoff contenders. However, Mayfield went through a regression. He only threw more touchdowns than interceptions in 5 out of the 16 games that he played in, and he finished the season throwing 22 touchdowns.
First time Baker Mayfield trying to go to the air, and he wants a lot. He's going for the end zone.
On first down, Mayfield down the middle. Beckham has it.
To his 21 interceptions.
Try and get the ball downfield.
And this one is intercepted by Darius Phillips.
Along with this, he posted a career-low 59.4% completion percentage. Despite taking this step back from his rookie season, the Browns still finished the year with a 6-10 record. Could have been worse. Now, in the 2020 season, he was just short of leading the Browns to an appearance in the AFC Championship. However, just 1 year later, the team was already ready to move on from him as they went back to missing the playoffs yet again. They eventually did so, trading him to the Panthers for a conditional 2024 pick.
The number 1 overall pick in the 2018 draft is packing his bags, and he is headed to the Carolina Panthers. Now, this comes as Baker Mayfield has made it pretty clear he did not want to stay in Cleveland.
Things went from bad to worse for Mayfield with the Panthers, and after not even a full season with the team, they released him. But right when Baker hit rock bottom, he rose from the ashes. Following an injury to Matthew Stafford, he was given one last shot at being a starting quarterback with the Los Angeles Rams. While LA was already eliminated from playoff contention, Baker still had a ton to play for, and he showed out. This late season performance with the Rams earned him a chance to compete for the starting job with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers following the departure of Tom Brady. Mayfield not only won that quarterback battle, he's also ensured that the Bucs did not miss a beat even after the retirement of the greatest quarterback of all time. Last season, he led them to the divisional round of the playoffs and even made a Pro Bowl appearance. In this current 2024 season, he was on pace to have another huge year through the air, but some recent injuries to his top 2 wide receivers, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, might give him some problems in that department. While many have had their doubts about Baker following his time with the Browns and the Panthers, he has completely revived his career in Tampa Bay and will likely be their franchise quarterback for years to come. Despite this, I think it's pretty clear that Allen is the better player in this situation, and when taking into account how things have played out in Cleveland, there's a strong chance that they would have been better off taking the quarterback from Wyoming with the first overall pick. There's always going to be the argument, though, that if Cleveland took Josh Allen, then he would have just stunk it up due to the organization's past turnout, so this one's really up for debate. With the second overall pick, the New York Giants selected Saquan Barkley, running back out of Penn State. Heading into the draft, Barkley was a no-brainer as the top running back prospect in the entire class. NFL.com deemed him a perennial All-Pro and rated him a 7.45 out of 8. Scouts around the league were comparing him to former legends like Barry Sanders, and it was expected that he would become an all-time great. The Giants didn't hesitate at all to add him to an offense that already featured weapons such as Eli Manning and Odell Beckham Jr. He had absolutely no issues making the transition to the NFL either, and in only his rookie season, Barkley was already performing as one of the most talented running backs in the entire league.
Now Barkley up the middle, cuts to the outside. Saquon Barkley across midfield. Stayed in bounds. And Barkley. Here's Barkley off the hesitation. Inside the 5, still going. Touchdown, Saquon Barkley.
His extremely versatile game, along with his damage that he could do in the passing game, made him one of the toughest players at the position to bring down. He earned the Offensive Rookie of the Year award and even made the Pro Bowl in the 2018 season. However, the following season, the main thing that has really held Barkley back in his career so far have been the injuries. He started to deal with that in 2019, where he suffered a sprained ankle. The year after, he was only able to play in 2 games because of a torn ACL. When he finally made his return in the 2021 season, he looked far from the same back that he was in his rookie year. He averaged a very rough 3.7 yards per carry compared to the 5 average that he had in his first year. However, This drop-off was to be expected. An ACL tear is one of the toughest injuries for a running back to bounce back from, and the Giants' offensive line was bottom 5 in the league, which certainly didn't help his case. Heading into the 2022 season, many people had already counted Barkley out and thought that his best years were behind him, but he had a complete return to form. He had his first 1,000-yard season in 3 years and even made a return to the Pro Bowl. Despite his strong showing in 2022 that earned him 3rd place in Comeback Player of the Year voting, he once again took a step back the following season. But this cannot be completely blamed on Barkley. The Giants had a horrendous quarterback rotation that allowed defenses to hedge very heavily against the run, and once again, the Giants had a bottom 5 offensive line to block for him, making it very difficult to get anything going. It was clear that his time in New York was coming to an end, or else the rest of his career would be wasted, and in the following offseason, he signed with the Eagles. Thus far, he is well on pace to having his best season of his entire career with the Eagles.
Barkley has it in a crowd. They're going to push, and he is in for a touchdown.
Looking the other way. Lofts it. Barkley, end zone.
If he's able to continue this level of play, there is no doubt that he's going to be contending for an Offensive Player of the Year award come season's end. That's what happens when you actually have a good offensive line blocking for you. While Allen has had much more of an impactful career up to this point, it's very hard to compare the two since they obviously play different positions, and the Giants weren't in search of a quarterback at the time. Eli Manning did enter the 2018 season coming off a 3-12 year, and at 37 years old, the Giants probably should have been looking at drafting another franchise caliber quarterback. I do understand them not taking Allen at number 2 though, because New York thought they could squeeze a couple more years out of Eli. While Barkley's time with the Giants was riddled with injuries, he was still one of the best running backs in franchise history, so I can't fault New York for taking him. With the 3rd overall pick, the 2nd quarterback was taken off the board here when the New York Jets selected Sam Darnold out of USC.
With the 3rd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Sam Darnold, quarterback, USC.
NFL.com deemed Darnold to be a Pro Bowl talent, and scouts were very high on him, comparing him to Andrew Luck. Similar to Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, Darnold had a tall task in front of him, attempting to pull the Jets out of poverty. He had a roller coaster of a rookie season, but this is to be expected from any quarterback in that type of situation. While he did have his fair share of low points, some future Hall of Fame quarterbacks had downright awful rookie campaigns as well. Along with this, Darnold also had a fair share of moments in which he looked like he had what it took to be the future of the Jets. He had one of the best seasons of his career in 2019, where he threw for 3,024 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. However, even with this respectable stat line, this season had its fair share of low points, most notably in a game against the New England Patriots on Monday Night Football. Darnold was unfortunately the victim of a hot mic that picked him up saying that he was seeing ghosts out there.
Seeing ghosts.
Referring to sensing that he was about to be hit in the pocket when in fact nobody was there. This paired with the fact that he missed some time earlier in the season with mono made him the butt of almost every joke that year. To make things even worse in the Patriots game, the Jets were stomped by a final score of 33-0, and Darnold only threw for 86 yards. Along with that, he threw 4 interceptions and was only able to complete 34.4% of his passes.
Picked off again.
Despite leading the Jets to a 7-6 record that season as a starter, things were about to get so much worse for him in New York. In his final season with the team, they suffered to a 2-10 record with him starting, and he only threw 9 touchdowns to his 11 interceptions. At this point, the Jets had seen enough from him, and they chose to move on from him just 3 years after using the 3rd overall pick. He was traded to the Carolina Panthers for a 2021 6th-round pick, along with a 2nd and a 4th-round pick in the 2022 draft.
Sam Darnold is now headed to the Carolina Panthers. The two teams have agreed to terms.
Many believe that a change of scenery was exactly what Darnold needed to live up to the potential that got him drafted with the 3rd overall pick. However, in his first year with the team, he made it hard for even his biggest supporters to continue defending him. Once again, he threw more interceptions than touchdowns, this time 13 picks to his 9 touchdowns. After the Panthers traded for Baker Mayfield the following offseason, Darnold started the year off as a backup. But following Mayfield's release, he once again took over that starting role, This time around, he looked much better, leading the team to a 4-2 record while throwing for 1,143 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Despite this being his best showing in the past 3 years, he was unable to find a team that would bring him in as a starting quarterback and elected to sign with the 49ers as a backup to Brock Purdy.
Hey Niners faithful, it's Sam Darnold. So happy to be here, happy to be in the Bay, and just excited to get to work.
It appeared that this is exactly what Darnold needed. Being able to get reps in with truly elite weapons and not have the weight of carrying a struggling franchise made him play much better and more relaxed. Following a year with the 49ers, he signed with the Vikings, which put him in line to be a starter once again. Following a preseason injury to rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy, Darnold was in full control this time around of that starting spot. With how he's been playing recently, it's going to be very difficult to bench him when McCarthy is fully recovered. Darnold has shocked the league, and through 7 games, he's put up 1,610 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. If he keeps this level of play up, it will definitely be one of his best years as a professional. Despite his unexpected resurgence, Allen has had a much better career, and if the Jets could redo this draft, I'm sure they would have picked him without a second thought. With the 4th overall pick, the Cleveland Browns were up once again. This time they selected Denzel Ward, who is a cornerback out of Ohio State.
With the 4th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Denzel Ward, defensive back, Ohio State.
Leading up to the draft, scouts were very high on Ward, with NFL.com deeming him as a year 1 starter and ranking him as the best corner in the entire draft. He was frequently being compared to Chris Harris Jr., who at the time was dominating the league. Ward got his career off to a hot start, picking off 3 passes and making an appearance in the Pro Bowl during his first season. He really couldn't ask much more out of a rookie. As his career continued to progress, he quickly earned a spot as one of the most highly regarded corners in the entire league. He picked off 2 passes both in 2019 and 2020, but in the following season, he made a return to the Pro Bowl with another 3 interception effort. His biggest play for the season came when he made the second pick 6 of his career, which ended up being returned for 99 yards. In 2022, while he did fail to make a return to the Pro Bowl, he once again picked off 3 passes and interestingly led the league with 2 fumbles returned for a touchdown. He made his 3rd and most recent Pro Bowl appearance in 2023 as the head honcho of the secondary on a very scary Browns defense. Thus far throughout the 2024 season, he leads the league with 12 pass deflections, and if he's able to remain healthy, it's likely that he's well on his way to another Pro Bowl appearance. Throughout his career so far, Ward has been tasked with covering the best wide receivers in the league, and he has more than held his own against them. Both Allen and Ward are 2 of the top talents at their respective positions. Had Cleveland not picked Mayfield with that 1st overall pick, this would have been an ideal spot to snag Allen. However, assuming they already picked Baker, you're not going to select another quarterback, of course, so Ward was the right choice. With the 5th overall pick, the Denver Broncos selected edge rusher Bradley Chubb out of North Carolina State.
With the 5th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Bradley Chubb, defensive end, NC State.
He was deemed a prospect who was bound to become a perennial All-Pro coming into the draft, and he was ranked as the best defensive end the class had to offer. Some scouts were even comparing him to Terrell Suggs, which could only mean great things. Pairing Chubb with Von Miller was set to give Denver one of the scariest pass rushes in the entire league, and one that no opposing quarterback wanted to go up against. He had a very strong rookie season, racking up a wild 12 sacks, earning 3rd place in the Defensive Rookie of the Year voting. Unfortunately, he was only able to play in 4 games the following year after suffering a torn ACL. Despite this debilitating injury, he was able to put together an incredible bounce-back season in 2020, earning his first Pro Bowl selection on the back of a 7.5 sack season. However, injuries once again kept him sidelined for a majority of the following year, this time 10 games due to an ankle injury. Despite being forced to go through another recovery process and spend the 2022 campaign playing for 2 different teams, Chubb made a return to the Pro Bowl. He's a player who can thrive in any system, and he proved that this season, picking up with the Miami Dolphins right where he left off with the Broncos. 2023 marked his first full season in Miami, and he had arguably the best season of his career, recording 11 sacks along with a league-leading 6 forced fumbles. But just when things started to go right again for Chubb, he suffered another torn ACL that has left him unable to suit up yet in this current 2024 2024 season. Hopefully he can get back to reaching his full potential sooner rather than later, because he has had some terrible luck. As for the debate if the Broncos should have taken Allen, Allen has had a better career up to this point in time, but this is not to take anything away from Chubb. Despite all the injuries that he's suffered already, he's continued to show his resiliency and proven time and time again as one of the league's most dangerous edge rushers. However, with the Broncos rolling out Case Keenum as their quarterback in 2018, along with the awful run of quarterbacks they've had since Peyton Manning, having a player like Allen could have really turned things around for this franchise. The final pick before Allen was Quentin Nelson, an offensive guard out of Notre Dame who the Indianapolis Colts scooped up with the 6th overall selection.
With the 6th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Quentin Nelson.
NFL.com deemed him as someone who would turn into an all-pro at his position, and they did not have to wait long for this prediction to come true. It was a poorly kept secret that Nelson was an incredible talent, with scouts comparing him to Larry Allen before he had even taken one NFL snap. Thus far throughout his career, Nelson has likely the most accolades to his name out of anyone in the entire draft class, outside of Lamar Jackson with 2 MVPs. Nelson has quickly proven himself as arguably the best left guard the entire league has to offer, and he has yet to miss the Pro Bowl in the first 6 years of his career. Along with this, he has been named to the All-Pro First Team 3 times and the All-Pro Second Team once. With the team expecting Andrew Luck to continue to be their starting quarterback for years to come, this was the perfect pick for the Colts. You really couldn't have asked for a better lineman, and he has continued to prove himself as one of, if not the most talented at the position year in and year out. It can be argued that Nelson has had a better career at this point thus far than Allen has, and with Luck already being an elite starting quarterback for the Colts at the time, it really wouldn't have made much sense for them to take Allen. Now, if you guys are interested in what happened to the players drafted before another great quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, click on this video right here. And also hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this.